Welcome to Tech Down Over. We are in our live program right now, and we're going to be recording in about a minute. Today we've got with us Micheal Bryant. He used to be I think it was product marketing manager with, Micheal, are you there? Let's get Micheal.
Yes. My last position with Sony was director of marketing.
Director of marketing.
Yes.
And he's with us. He's a musician. He's a composer, writer, plays music, sings. Quite talented individual. And all these years, I thought he was a DJ. But anyway, so he'll be on today. And Jeff is with us from Melbourne, Australia. Yes. Hopefully he stays with us. We've had a couple of Skype issues today. And maybe it's National Skype Misbehave Day. But all right, so we switch our shot and let's get with the actual show. So we're going to start here. And we'll start the show recording in 3, 2, and 1. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tech Down Over. Today, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Jeff Blanchard from Australia. How are you, Jeff?
Good. Thank you, Rick. Getting ready for another exciting show and a very talented guest we have on today.
Yeah, and some of the excitement might come from keeping you live and running on this thing, because Skype's been misbehaving a little bit today. Not that Skype would ever do that, right? No, it wouldn't do that, no. Did we just lose him?
Oh, no, that's right.
Oh, there he is.
I'm just freezing just to mess with your mind.
Yep, just froze for a second, had me going. They do that in Australia. They can freeze like a kangaroo in the middle of the outback, just frozen. And then they pounce and attack him, and they kill the prey. It's what they do. That's not the intro. And we're back. And today we've got with us Micheal Bryant. He was the director of marketing for Sony Media Software and the Vegas product, Sony Vegas, SoundForge. And Micheal, how are you today?
I'm doing real well, thank you.
That's great. Now, you were with Sony for a while, with Sony for quite a while, actually, from the beginning. But you were one of the first people with Sony, with Sonic Foundry, correct?
Exactly. I think I was employee number 40. So that was back when we were downtown, a little building on Livingston Street and Willie Street, and it was very exciting. The energy in that building and all the fabulous people working there, I couldn't have landed in a better spot.
Well, I remember when Sony Vegas came out, I think it was, 2000?
Yeah. It came out in 1999 as Vegas Audio.
Right.
The video features were there. They were sort of hidden. They weren't turned on yet. But then the next year it came out with the video turned on. So it became a video editor in 2000.
So I think I got into Vegas in 2001 or 2 then. Probably.
Oh, yeah.
1. I think it's toward the end of 2001. I don't remember what it was, like version 2 or 3 maybe. I think it was 2 at the time. It was amazing. When I first got into Sonic Foundries, first you also had another product. You had SoundForge. I think that was out before, right?
SoundForge was what started it all. That was the first application made by that team, and it was one of those stories where, Monty got out his credit card to finance the business and was doing it in his back room. And that whole thing that you hear in a lot of situations back in the .com early days. So that started it out. Then in 98, they released a product called Acid Pro, and that really was a revolutionary product and really changed the way people thought about making music and then how they did go about making music. And then after that, Vegas came out. There were some other programs, smaller applications, some plugins and for audio plugins that came out as well. But those were the 3 big ones. Those were the 3 pillars that made Sonic Foundry what it was.
Well, you guys were at the edge of really, like you said, a revolution, because nobody did it as well as you guys in that time, and nobody knew it. That's the problem. These people, I'm going to stick with Premiere, And I got into Vegas, and I started going, I did Premiere for a while and hated it with a passion back then. I mildly like it now. Mildly. It's very mild. It's still pretty much filled with hate and loathing, but,
Well,
Vegas was just
I admire
incredible.
those Adobe guys. They just are amazing at what they build and what they acquire and then fold into their portfolio. They've got a rocking business going on there, so I admire that.
Oh, yeah. But it is amazing what Vegas did in the world of video editing. It really became digital. You got rid of that metaphor of let's have a reel to reel and cut the film, and that's really kind of the metaphor that a lot of them were using.
Yeah.
Vegas changed that, and it took a long time. Within about 10 years, everybody started moving to where Vegas was in 2001. To what a difference! I mean, look how long it took the industry to wake up.
I agree. I was at a conference down at Full Sail in Orlando, maybe a year and a half ago, and bless his heart, I was watching the Adobe guy do his demo, and he was going, "Now let me tell you about some of these new features we've got." And I'm sitting in the back room and go, "Yeah, we were doing that about 10 years ago." So it was nice to see him catch up. It was nice to see them validate all the good things we had going on and saying, "Yeah, this is good enough. We're going to put it in our app." So
look at Final Cut Pro. Everybody had always two monitors. You had to have your output and then your preview and
source and record, so to speak, back in the
and now it's all
days.
And now it's all changed. And now everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve, that looks an awful lot like Vegas.
And
A lot of similarities in the editing part, and I've only played a little bit with Resolve, but it's the one that reminds me the most. You can drag clips over each other, and you have a fade, and little things like that.
I know. It just killed us over the years. Every time somebody else, we can do automatic crossfades, and we're going, yeah, that was in version 1.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Times have changed, but it took them a long time. It is amazing how slow the industry can be to move, because I'm frankly, and it reminded me of politics. They were very quick to poo-poo anything that Vegas did, even though they were doing things that were seriously, it was 10 years ahead of everybody minimum. And I converted about 6 guys I know from Final Cut Pro to Vegas. They were going, wow, this is so much cooler.
And what's nice is that the Vegas story is not over. I was really pleased when we found out that I wasn't pleased that I was going to lose my job, but I was pleased that it wasn't the end of life for Vegas, but the Magic folks were picking that up. And I've had a chance to meet all of that team. They're a great bunch of guys. They've been in the software business for 20 years, maybe longer. So they get it. They understand who their customers are. They seem to appreciate who the Vegas customers are. And so they've got a team, and most of them are right here in Madison, working away on the next version, which will be out in September.
They kept some of the team, right? They kept quite a few of the
they did. I think, they maybe grabbed 10 of the engineers, and they grabbed the product manager, and unfortunately, they've got a massive marketing team over in Berlin, so they didn't need any of the marketing people.
They actually probably do, but we won't go into that.
Well, all right.
Maybe
we should check in with them again in September. So
you probably
see if they still feel that way.
Yeah, I keep getting their emails going, they really need some help on this. But, it's a different culture. It's slightly different than here. And the way they state things isn't always the way I think that would sell here. But, they'll work on it. They have a pretty good little video editor, the Magic's Movie Maker Pro.
Right.
It's not bad for a $100 product or whatever. It's actually clever. I think it's better than some of the other ones out there in that price range. So they do have experience with video editing.
Yes, they do.
And I was actually glad. I don't know that much about Magic's, but considering how Sony ignored the product, and I'll be honest, as a user for many, many years, about 15, 16 years, I just thought Sony never even knew they owned it.
Well, it was amazing how many times I'd go to a large, trade show in the big Sony booth, and go up and ask somebody, well, where's the Vegas section? They go, man, you're in Vegas. No, not the city, the software. They had no clue. Yeah, it was a well-kept secret with them. And we fought that for years.
Yeah.
And the Sony guys, the Japan team, sharp bunch of guys, but they didn't, in my opinion, they never really understood who the Vegas customer was. No. And really what their customer needed, and of course their voice is louder than ours, so
And the funny thing is, the Vegas customer is exactly who's buying their A7R2s and the A7 or A7S2. It's the same people, because those are not really the high-end professional cameras that they use in movie making. Those are the indie cameras, the ones that all the indie guys do, and all the video editors, some studios, but not the majority. And that's exactly who their market would have been.
I know.
It's fascinating.
Yeah. We tried making that case, but
anyway. It's just sort of a shame. No, I've actually been to some of the camera stores, and I would always go to the Sony guys and go, hey, what do you recommend for video editing? Final Cut Pro, Premiere. Right. Yeah. I go, hey, have you guys ever heard of Vegas? No. You own it.
Yeah, I know.
No.
God, yeah.
We look at each other like, we own Vegas?
Sony store in Las Vegas. They have a Sony store there in the Caesars, I think it is.
Okay.
And so I walk in, I'm looking around, I don't see any software out there. And I go up to the guy, I'm not wearing any Sony identification. I go, so where's the software? And he goes, what software? Like the video editing software and the audio stuff. Oh, we keep that in the back. Because, it's so easy to steal. Oh, really? Like those headphones and those MP3 players and that little bitty camera, like easy to steal like those? It was such a lame excuse. And,
those
he
guys
didn't get the joke.
Those guys that come in with those trench coats going, where's the Vegas? Where's the Sony Vegas?
Really?
Gotta watch those guys.
Oh, well. But they're gonna put some nice features in that September release, and so they're spending a lot of time, of course, rebranding it, and that's a time sink, but it's got to be done. But they're still going to find time to get some features in there and repair some things that people have been asking for. So should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Real problem that Vegas suffered from at the end, maybe the last 3-4 years, was the UI just needed a big refresh. I think that was probably the biggest issue that I would find, that it looked very, NT, Windows NT, or it didn't look as nice as the newer stuff. And Catalyst sort of solved some of that when they came out with Sony Catalyst, and immediately there were a lot of Vegas users, and they would go, we're dead. And I held back. I didn't think they were dead, but I wondered. Because Catalyst was starting to get the same feature set that Sony had, that Vegas had. And as a result, I was going, Now, since the acquisition of Vegas, there has been mum is the word on the Catalyst side. Wasn't it the same team developing it?
Well, part of the teams, part of the members of the teams were the same, but not exclusively. There was definitely a group working on Vegas and a group working on Catalyst. There was some cross-pollination, of course, because we were a small shop and everybody wore a lot of hats.
Sure.
But the guys that are still there working on Catalyst, sharp bunch of guys. I have not been in contact with them, so I don't know what their plan is. And like you, I haven't seen any announcements. But so I'm not sure what's up there.
It had potential. In fact, you were the one who convinced me to buy it. So congratulations. I'll send you commission later.
All right.
I watched some of the things you did at NAB. You did some demos. And I went, that looks really good.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't quite finished on the editing side.
Yeah.
But I thought, that's got potential. And the interface was nice.
And there's some real innovation going on in there, particularly with, one of the main problems that we've heard, and a lot of people heard from videographers, is, how to deal with the audio, because of the fact that you now have cameras out there that, have 8 channels of audio, and then you get that on the timeline. How do you deal with that in a way that doesn't make you as a videographer, learn about, you have to create a bunch of buses. Well, what's a bus? I get on a bus to go downtown, oh, no, it's an audio bus. And there's this whole learning curve. And what the Catalyst team did is come up with this really slick way that all a cameraman has to be able to do is remember where did he plug in his microphone or microphones, and then go in and label those. And then Catalyst does the rest, because if he didn't use the rest of those channels, it doesn't bring him into the timeline. Yeah. If he had two different cameras and he mixed the way, put the shotgun in one and the lav on two, and on the other camera the opposite, as long as he's labeled them correctly, Catalyst does the magic and puts them all on the right track, so you don't have cross tracks whether you're trying to figure out how to deal with all that audio. It just does it for you. That is more innovative than any other NLE out there that I've ever seen, and it solves that very basic problem for somebody who doesn't want to be an audio engineer. They want to be, running their camera and making movies.
Well, this is exactly why they should not have let you go, because you're not just the marketing guy. When I first saw you giving demos, I went, this guy, you can't memorize this stuff. Because, there are some marketing guys who just make it up as they go, and they're reading a script, and I go, no, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows audio, and that's another rarity. A lot of video guys don't know audio that well.
And that's the problem we were trying to solve. And the reason that, I can spew that off with such confidence that I understand how it works is because I got to be part of the team to figure that puzzle out. Not just figure it out, but I brought that puzzle to the team. I said, look, here's what's happening. These guys they don't want to know about audio buses. They don't want to know about mixing down. They just want to say, hey, I put my camera, I put my microphones in here and here. Can't the software just deal with that? And by golly, the team figured out a way to do it, and I just think it works great.
Yeah, that is good. But that is the kind of stuff that's why I thought, these people don't have a clue sometimes who they let go. Because, that's the kind of experience you don't find every day. And
I would agree.
And we're not here to recruit for him. Seriously, we're not. And he's not paying us for this either. But, from one professional to another, when you see somebody who knows what they're talking about, it's a pleasure. And
I hope my old boss is watching this video.
We'll send him a link. Tell me who he is, and we'll send him a link. But seriously, that is the kind of thing that we notice as pros in the field. And I know audio pretty well, and I would just say, this is pretty cool. He's talking experience about audio and how it ties into video, and he's making some pretty complex things easy. I remember when I first got my first mixer. It was a Mackie Onyx, and it had a lot of channels. It had buses, 2 buses, and I go, where am I going to go with the bus? Right, what's a bus? And you learn, oh, this is going that way.
Yeah,
and when you first look at a mixer, you just go, oh, my head hurts. There's so many buttons. Then you just realize you just keep looking at a line. Quit looking across. Look at that line, and then figure out how it traverses. It's not that hard once you get it. But it's tricky, especially if you're not a trained music guy or definitely a sound engineer type. A sound engineer knows that well because that's what they live in. But the non-engineer types, it's difficult. You really have to figure out how things move. And in video, you have the same power, but it's even more complex because it's not really shown to you.
Yeah.
And so I thought you did a great job. And I saw your demo when you talked about the audio capabilities and the multi-track, and I was going, that's pretty cool. You definitely not only explained it well, but you made it, that's pretty easy. That's kind of neat. And Sonic Foundry, I thought, was just an incredibly innovative company. And that's why I was actually disappointed when Sony bought them. I went, oh, man.
Because so we all.
It's your typical big company, and they don't even know what they have in all the products and everything else. And it was kind of our worst dreams come true because, in essence, they didn't really keep the product going like they could have. There were changes and stuff that were going on, but you could tell that there was a little lack of direction from the Sony people. At least it seemed that way. That's just to an observer. And I thought they were going to kill the product at one point because they've gotten so quiet. There weren't a lot of updates coming out, and you went, this doesn't look good.
Yeah.
And then when I heard about the Magic's acquisition, I went, okay, well, that could be actually really interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. I think so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
And again, the video industry is changing, but it hasn't changed that much. A lot of it, to this day, everything coming out is almost at a Vegas level. I just find that fascinating. Almost. Most of them are still not there.
But one of the things that are sort of on the horizon that I've been checking out lately is the idea of making like a control surface, like a mixer, virtual. For instance, the band that I'm in, when we go out and play a gig, we mix the whole thing from an iPad.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That is so awesome because, like if I'm sitting there trying to get it rolling, I mean, we're playing small gigs. We're not doing arenas, right? But, and so we're mixing ourselves. So I can take that iPad, I can walk out where the audience is, leave the rest of the band playing, and now I'm hearing the band from the audience.
Interesting.
Who's going to be listening. And I can control the whole thing from an iPad. It is awesome.
That's amazing. And what software are you using?
For that one, we're using the Behringer, it's X-Air.
Yep. Okay.
And man, sweet deal. Got a lot of good DSP built right into it. The preamps, it's pretty new to me, but so far I got no complaints. I think they're good sounding, and it's the little Wi-Fi thing works so far. It's worked every time flawlessly, and it's just been a pleasure to be able to pop that iPad out of my holder, walk out into the audience, tweak the band a little bit, walk back in there with the confidence that that's what the audience is going to hear. And then from that, we can even record multi-track, either to Vegas, by the way, or another iPad app like Aria or something. And holy smoke, man! Now you're getting a recording right from the gig. It's all digital.
That's
for crying
amazing.
out loud.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful world.
That's
cool. Now, to me, the next step, and this is my dream, and I have a friend who is who's working on this technology, and he said, hey, I'm getting into this technology. Do you have any ideas about it? And I said, well, I don't know, what is it? So he sent me a link, and I started looking at this new Microsoft HoloLens.
Ah, yes.
All right, now think of this. This is what I told him, and I better be in on this if he ever makes some money off of it. But so there, you take this whole thing that I was just describing to a whole nother level. You're the sound guy for a band. You pop on the HoloLens. You walk around the audience, and then there in front of you, virtually, in sort of a 3D looking thing, is your mixer. It can be as a sophisticated mixer as you'd want, and it can be controlled by gesture, could be controlled by glance, by voice commands. I mean, you could just say, bring up a compressor, put it on channel 1. I mean, and all of this while you're walking around the hall and mixing the band, and you get to hear exactly what the audience is hearing. That, to me, is the future. Then think about this. Like when we have convolution reverbs, and you go out and you get an impulse of a particular room or cathedral or stadium or what have you. And so, in that case, it's, quote, remembering what that space is like, right? So, why not do the same thing, not just mixing audio, but controlling cameras? So you're the guy there, you got your HoloLens on, and in front of you, you see the virtual camera controls. And as you look to a particular part of the room, that's where that camera is. Because of that, now it's not just a hand gesture, but your eyes, you now have control over that camera. And then you're seeing what that camera is seeing in part of your lens, and you're controlling it. I mean, I think, I don't know, that future technology like that I think is definitely going to happen, and that's going to be fun for audio guys and for video guys, and anybody who's trying to mix or control multiple channels of whatever, video or audio.
And think of what a difference in a lot of the big concert halls or stadiums.
Yeah.
They always have a guy sitting at a mixer in the middle of the audience,
Right.
kind of getting a feel for where everything is, and people don't even know what he's doing there.
No.
But they're trying to equalize it and make it sound good for the whole place, and they do change. And the one singer will be low, another one will be high.
Yeah.
They kind of match it, or we're not hearing much in the back. Let me amplify these things, and it's pretty amazing. So this now brings it to a whole new level.
And
The thing that excites me with I said the thing that excites me with all this technology is that it's not just available, and it's not just there just for the top end professionals. Even somebody just at the amateur level can get hold of it and make their quality just sound so much better and improve on it.
A very important point. I agree. Yeah, which in a way is what the Sonic Foundry apps did.
Yeah. As I was talking in the pre-show, as I said, Rick said I was a musician. I don't class myself in such a high level as you, Michael, because you're a professional singer. But the technology that you can get now that I've purchased myself, it makes it available for me to do, a 16-track recording with audio, as well as musical instruments, and do all these things which, 10, 15 years ago, it was only the professionals with a multi-million-dollar studio can do. And what I'm doing is just at the low level nowadays. So it's just quite exciting what's coming out with the audio these days.
Well, even software like GarageBand, is if you think about what they've done with that, it's pretty amazing how they can simulate every instrument, that you can have an awful lot of flexibility in that. It ties into MIDI, so you could have your keyboard or something else, and you don't have to really be a good musician to figure out how to play something on that.
Yeah, and so, Acid started that whole revolution.
Yeah,
So, there would be no GarageBand without Acid Pro. And, in 1989, I was in the recording business at a recording studio, and we had a Synclavier system. Now, some of the listeners out there may not know what that is, but that was the granddaddy of digital audio. And when you think about, digital anything back in 89, those were primitive days, but this was a very sophisticated audio station, 8 tracks, simultaneous record. But if you got the full system, both towers and the controller and the Mac front end, it was like $300,000. And so now you get GarageBand for $5, right? It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. With all the virtual instruments and everything else. Go ahead, Jeff.
Even some of these newer digital ones, you can get some of the top recording studio plugins that might cost you $1,000, but you're getting something from a $3 million setup or something. So it's just quite incredible what you can get. Whereas, like say, Rick and I have these processors like the AFX, and we have the Personas. A lot of them you can just buy different add-ons for these digital ones, and you're getting much, much better quality and far less room on your desktop taking up.
Right, and back when I had my recording studio and I had to buy, like some nice compressors, 1176 or something, and I'm on a budget, so, I can only afford maybe 2 or 3 of those, and then I can't put those on every channel. I got 24-track recording. I got to be picky about where I'm going to put those. Now, with these all-digital systems like the Behringer system, you can have something that emulates that same high-end, beautiful-sounding compressor, and I can put it on every channel I've got, and no problem.
And Michael, there's something that I've talked to a couple of sound engineers throughout the years. They can't really tell the difference between the real one and the digital one. They try. They go, I can't really. And you could tell they're struggling.
You got to have some serious ears, and it's beyond me because I think these things sound great.
It's amazing. I've heard those Aphex 230 emulators. I can't tell, and I have pretty good hearing. I can't tell at all. It's just amazing how far the tech has gone and how they can really reproduce digitally anything.
Yeah,
it's pretty incredible. Even some of the guitars, for example, the acoustic guitars or a violin, which are not that easy to really, they can make it sound exactly like, to the point where even the pressure of the pick hitting it is actually accounted for.
Yeah, and they're getting better and better about that all the time. And now with things like super faster, the processor's much faster. Memory is not nearly the big problem and expense that it used to be, and so all that plays into being able to give you these really sophisticated samples that through velocity will give you the different touch of a pick, the different dynamics of a piano and so forth.
Yeah, even in gaming, if you notice the physics, now these games, they walk through a jungle and every leaf is moving.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Yeah, their clothing's moving. Yeah.
Everything. You've got rustling, the hair moves. That's pretty mind-boggling. And just think, 30 years ago, we had an IBM PC with two floppy drives. Yeah. And 2 floppy drives. And that was it. And, my wife worked at a company called Teradata. That was the very first company that came out with a terabyte machine, 1 terabyte. Wow. And it was, it needed a room that was probably about 5,000 to 10,000 square feet big to house all of those drives, hundreds of them to get to 1 terabyte. Now, let's see, you can get a terabyte in a small little SD card. It's amazing. Yeah, we've come a long way.
Sorry, Michael, I've got to ask you this question for Rick. Rick's got this fetish about microphones, so he's got a number of microphones. So we've got to ask you, what's one of your favourite?
Oh, wow. To use? So, like that little Neumann that he's working with there, I like the Neumann line of microphones. Not exactly inexpensive, but for the guy that's doing a home studio, excuse me, I've got really good results with the Shure microphone, was the KM44, and the Rode microphones. I've got 3 different Rode microphones, and boy, they just work great for me. And if I'm just recording, like doing voiceover work, I've got my Electro Voice, was it R1 or something like that?
Okay.
I mean, it's like you see it in radio studios all over the world. And that I've had for, 30 years, and it's still just going strong. Works great. And all of those, the Rode are very, very affordable, so is the Electro Voice. Yep. And, of course, out on the gig, we use, SM57s, 58s from Shure, and those are workhorse microphones. They work great.
Yeah, the Shures are good. I've got one of the Shure, is it the KM42?
I saw the Shure, the SM58. I have one of them, and one of the reasons I got was because you can hammer a nail in with it. I saw.
I've heard that. I've never tried that yet.
Well, I did see them show that, and there was hammering a nail. I thought, well, just what you need if you just haven't got the hammer with.
Okay, you can hammer a nail with it, but my question is, will it blend?
Ah, yes. That is one sick show. Okay. That is such a sick show. They blended some really nice equipment. It's like, no, don't blend it. Oh, it's amazing. The Rode is an amazing company because for their prices, they have some really awesome microphones. I've got I know both Jeff and I have their kind of entry-level NT1A, which is an excellent microphone. It's for $220, you get a really good mic, which has warmth, and it's very bright at the same time. The NT2A is an amazing microphone, especially if you want warmth.
I've got one of those, too.
I've got one of those somewhere around here, and I think in this office, or maybe it's in my other office.
So now today, I'm using, Mike, can you see this crazy thing? This is what I'm plugged into. It's a USB mic. It's the, let me see if I can figure out where my camera is here. It's the, can't see that, can you? It's the blue Snowball.
That's the Snowball. Interesting.
Yeah, and I have it plugged right into my PC.
See, but now I tell you,
microphone today.
That's because you have a good voice. The blue is okay, but you have a very good tone to your voice, and the blue's doing well with it. Because I've heard blues that don't do that. I never would have guessed you were on a blue today.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
So it sounds
it's an interesting looking mic too.
It is. And I used to have the Yeti. That was another strange one. They were good. I mean, it was good for what they did. The Yeti was a little noisy, and I just got the Bluebird by Blue. and it's I don't have it here. No, that's a good singing mic.
Oh, I haven't tried it.
It does voiceover okay. It's only about $300. But for a singing mic, it can take a lot of SPL. I mean, you can scream into that thing, and it just doesn't really distort you. So I think from that point of view, it's very good. But if you have a nice resonant voice, it'll give you a beautiful sound.
Wow, I'll have to look into it. Thanks for the tip.
It's the Bluebird. It looks like a baby bottle, almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
I have it on the Aphex 230, and it has a pretty nice sound. Well, Jeff, how did it sound yesterday? You and I were talking for about an hour and a half. How did the Bluebird sound to you?
It sounded really, really good. So it's one of those ones, though, as well, as if you're not straight onto it, it just disappears straight away, though. That's the only
The
problem
Bluebird, you have to be right in front of it like this. It's so. At first, I was talking on it, and like 3/4 of the sound is gone. It's like, what am I doing? It's not side axis. I mean, off axis. It's pretty much right on, and you're very close to it. But it gives a good sound. Has a built-in pop. Well, actually, a little magnetic pop blocker that you can attach to it. It's cute. It looks nice, but I don't think it blocks pops all that well. So, partly because you have to get so close to it.
My favorite one. My favorite one at the moment is the Studio Project one that we're using now. So,
if you want a mic,
that's one very cheap one.
I have a Connor Quinn. He is a voiceover talent. I think he's in Oklahoma right now. He moved over there. He can do a ton of voices, and he said, "Hey, you like the Neumann U87?" I go, "I've heard it, never had it, and I don't want to spend $3,000 on it." And he went, "How would you feel about spending $250 on it?" I go, "Okay." He goes, "Get the Studio Projects C1." I did. It sounds just like a Neumann U87. It's amazing. For $250, you get something that is really close. Connor said he knows a lot of sound engineers, and he goes, they tell him, you need to record this on a U87. Now, he has a real U87, but he didn't have it with him on this recording. It was back in L.A. where he had his other home. So he had the Studio Projects. He recorded, and the guy goes, "Great, sounds wonderful, thanks." Could not tell it wasn't a U87.
Yeah, well.
That's a pretty good price difference.
Yep.
And it's a nice looking mic. It's a good looking mic. It has really nice resonance. Are you on that right now, Jeff?
Yes, I am, yes.
Yeah. Now, Jeff's got a bit of a cold, so that's also why he's a little congested today. But it's a really good mic all the way around. I like it. And the price is, sometimes you think, oh, cheap, I don't want to buy it. Some of these cheap mics sound just as good as those $1,000, $2,000 ones. It's pretty amazing. Especially after compression.
Oddly enough, that's one of the things that we would hear about Vegas. I go, oh, for that price, particularly back when Final Cut was like $1,000, and Avid was just off the map, and they look at Vegas and they go, well, that can't be any good. It's just too cheap. It's got to be a toy.
Yep.
And then they'd spend the money, and they'd realize they could have bought 2 PCs and 2 copies of Vegas for what they just paid for their Avid system. And
well, there was another thing too. I had Final Cut Pro guys come in here and do video editing on Final Cut Pro, and then I would do the same edit in Vegas. It would take me a day. It took them 5.
Yeah.
And they would look at me going, "What'd you do?" I go, "Same thing you did."
Yeah.
"No way. What'd you do?" I said, "Same thing you did, except I have a tool that works." And that was back in Vegas in a Final Cut Pro 7 days.
Yeah.
Which really pretty much was Premiere. It was the same. I mean, the guy who wrote Premiere went to Final Cut Pro, so that's why it looks so much the same. But they couldn't believe it. They go, "Man, this thing just rocks as a video editing tool. How do you do that?" I go, "Okay, you do a fade." So they go in, the drag in transitions. I go, "I'm done." "What do you mean you're done?" I just dragged one clip over another. I set up an option that said automatic crossfade if I want it. I can click the button here and it turns it on and off. No way. Yeah, way. So it was just really interesting. So are you planning on getting a little bit more into the music career now?
Yeah, I've got several things cooking. Some are too early a stage to really talk about, but yeah, Common Chord is fun. We're just having a lot of fun with that, and beginning to build a fan base, and we're working on a CD and hope to have that out this fall, and that will be fun. I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting back into recording again because I really love that environment, and we're making some original music. And it gives me a chance to play all these instruments I have. So my wife says, "Do you really need all those instruments?" "Yes, honey. I gotta have an electric guitar and a mandolin and a bass, and yeah, I really need these." So I figure,
I think that's a wife thing. My wife says, "Do you really need that many mics?" "Oh yeah, yeah, because everyone is different."
Oh,
why do you have
absolutely.
two of the same one? Oh, because they were the same but a little bit different.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, do you really need that many cameras? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gotta have.
Why do you need so many cameras? Because they all take pictures differently.
Yeah.
Okay. But don't they all come out the same? Yes, but it takes a lot to get there. So.
Okay, give me some good tips here.
Yeah. It's
I'll need that.
It's just one of those things. I mean, I forgot what comedian it was, but the guys was talking about it might have been Foxworthy, maybe. I can't remember, but he said, my wife said, "You don't need a boat. That's crossing the line. You always need a boat." Anything goes, but not the boat.
The boat.
Not the boat. I think the same with mics, cameras, video. Yeah.
Pick your hobby poison, and yeah.
Yeah, Jeff's not married, so he doesn't have to account to anybody except his dog, and his dog just says, "You're fine with me. Just feed me. You can have any mic you want."
Oh wow.
Yeah, I keep putting the mic on mute because the dog's realised he's not part of this broadcast, so he's barking in the kitchen. He usually sits in here with me, and he just keeps very quiet. But he's just realised he's not part of it, and he keeps barking. So
I don't hear him though.
That's right. But as I said, with the gear, one of the things I do to justify it is pick a nice event, and then say if I've got 3 or 4 camera, get some people, set them up and do a multi-cam shot with the audio and that, and then it gives you one event where you've used your equipment and justified it all, and then you can use all your software in the background to edit it in later.
Good plan. Yeah, I have my companion is a Bernese Mountain Dog, about 120 pounds of just a lovable guy.
They're cool.
And you know what? He's a great songwriting partner. We go on these walks, and we'll come back with a song. So he's a great production partner.
I saw a female white Bernese recently at our vet's. She was so gorgeous. They're beautiful dogs.
Oh yeah, smart. And just mellow, and great companion.
Yeah, I have collies. They're kind of like really sweet lobotomized dogs. They're just, there's a reason why they needed 13 collies to do Lassie.
Oh,
they did 13. There was 2 Rin Tin Tins, one that did all the work, and the other one that could do all the work, but was a stand-in in case the other guy got tired. But the collies are just stubborn. They're sweet dogs, though. We've had tons of them, but they're just sort of, what? Am I here? I'm going to bark now. I don't know why, but I'm just going to bark. I think I hear something. Who am I?
The good thing I find with dogs, and that is, you can take your camera out, and because I like to take the camera out and go and do some shooting. But when you're just walking around taking pictures in parkland, you're just weird. But if you're with a dog, it's acceptable.
That's right. And if you take your wife, it's not the same because she goes, "Are we done yet? Are we done yet?"
Yeah, that's right.
You still need to take another picture?
You've been here for 3 minutes. Why do you need to stand here for another 5?
I took my wife to do a little bit of photo shooting the other day, and she's just sitting like, "Are we done yet?" No, we're going to take a little bit more. Okay. And at the end of the walk, she goes, "Can I have a camera?" I go, "Why?" She goes, "Then at least I can keep busy." Yeah. Okay. No patience whatsoever. Here, hold the bag. I can do that. Are we done yet? The bag's heavy. Can't win. So, well, Micheal, it's been a real pleasure having you on. I'd love to have you back on again and share some more of what you're doing. A lot of people don't realize that you're not quote unquote just a marketing guy. And
Right.
and believe me, we caught on to that real quickly. And like I said, from a pro point of view, it was just so much fun watching you do your demos and talk about things, because you can't make that up. You know, you have to know it. It's even hard to read it. We've done a lot of things for Adobe in the past where we wrote marketing routines for some of their marketing people, and it was a hard time for some of them because they had to act like they really knew this stuff inside out, but they didn't.
Yeah.
You just know it, and that's like I said, that's kudos to you. You've done a great job, and hey, you sing well too. So
Thank you very much.
you know that's a pleasure. So we'd love to have you back on, and good luck if you decide to go back to work anywhere, or like I said,
Yeah, we'll see.
you're way too young to just give it up right now. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
or-
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, gentlemen. I thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. And yeah, we should definitely do it again.
yeah, and if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to contact you?
Well, you can contact me through the website, which is Common Chord, like CHORD, .us. It's not .com, it's US.
Wow.
Because, of course, it's all about us.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yep, and we're showing the website and everything. So good.
Yeah.
commoncore.us.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we look forward to seeing you another time. Good luck again with everything. Thanks for coming on. If you're watching
Thank
the show,
you.
please subscribe, give us your feedback, and get a hold of Micheal. He really does good work. Take a listen to his website. He's got some really nice songs out there. If you like folk music, it sounds great.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And Jeff, we'll see you next week.
Okay, yes, hopefully a bit better next.
Yeah, I hope you do. It's been a week on you already. That's a tough cold. They're in winter his time, so
Yeah.
they're getting all the viruses that we just shed. So
Oh, great. Hey, we're happy to share. What can I say?
Yeah, that's right.
all right, have a good one, everyone. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye
See
for
you
now.
next time.
Bye.